in the middle of making dinner right now. What was it? Oh yeah, that's what. Fix this first. But I know I said I was gonna post a new video this week. As many of y'all know, I was planning on getting a second car this month, or this past week, I should say. Unfortunately, the dealership refused to work with me. All because I had an open car loan, which I think was a little bullshit, to be quite frank with you. I've seen guys my age who have been able to get a car, regardless of a second vehicle, regardless if they have an current open car loan or not. So, unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I did talk to one of the service advisors, and they said it might be a starter issue, hence why my current car is, or could be the reason why my current car is not operating. So, here in a few weeks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, order the part for the, the starter part, and hopefully that will solve the issue. As I was telling a friend of mine, I'd rather spend, because the starter part's only like $200-300. What, my friend of mine was telling me, oh, it might be the ECM, but that's over $1,000, and I don't want to be spending $1,000 on a part that still works. But yeah, yes, I'm in the process of making dinner. Don't judge me. I was getting this ready, and then I was like, oh, snaps, I need to create a new video. But, excuse me. But yeah, that's the plan for right now, is to order the starter motor. I don't know where it is on my car right now, at least. I will look that up though, and what I'll probably wind up doing is either creating a video and posting it like I've done in the past with a couple other of my videos, or a majority of my videos really, or two, I'll go live depending on if I can get the signal out here to be able to do it properly. But time will really tell if that's going to happen or not. That's a 3400, and yeah, it did. So, for those who don't know what I'm making, let's see. How do you turn the camera? Oh, there it is. So, steak, and this is, let me find oh, there it is. This is lobster with white cheddar macaroni and cheese. I like it. I've had it before. So, this is one of the very few things that I can actually rely on, and the seasoning on there is my own combination of all the seasonings I already had, and I thought it was like, why not create one massive thing of seasoning? And plus I was bored, and so, why not, instead of having to, constantly be trying to measure out seasonings, I just created one big batch. And no, I'm not giving out my recipe. You have to earn that. But I'm setting this at 400 for, about 17 minutes. So, let's get this big guy started. Let me back it up. There we go. That should, about 18-19 minutes, that should be more than enough time to, cook that. But yeah, it's yeah, so unfortunately part didn't happen. I was looking at getting a Telluride, or a midsize, and there was a 2023 Kia Telluride that was a 4-cylinder, But it was still powerful enough to be able to haul an engine. I mean, not haul an engine, haul a trailer behind it, which is what I was really looking for. You know, a vehicle that can actually really has the power to be able to haul a trailer behind it without a problem. But unfortunately, for some odd reason, they refused to want to work with me on it. Um, and which was weird, and that they needed a credit application as well, which is odd because I currently have a car. And I was telling the guy, I was like, dude, just have them look it up through so and so company. And I'm like, you'll be able to find my records. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is my address, which is accurate. I have since moved since I got my car, as many of y'all know. Because I got my car in April of last year, and then moved like 2 months, like a month later. Because I got my car at the end of April. April 28th is when I picked it up. And then a little over a month later, at June like 18th or something, I moved. And so, but I was able to, update my address with my finance company. And I was also able to update my address with my dealership, the service department at least. So that way they had an updated address on my car. So that way if they needed to send me any paperwork on it. But, I'm like, why don't you just look it up on on my file, my record? You'll be able to find my name, my address, my new address at least. And you'll also be able to find the finance company that I'm with, that I'm financing my current car with. You'll see the rate. You'll find all the information that you need on me through the finance company. And I was like, also, if you look at my previous paperwork from last year or from over a year ago, it's all there. The only thing, again, that has changed is the address, but they still were not wanting to work with me in any way, shape, or form. And mind you, I'm not trying to beat my dealership over the head or giving them a bad name. It's just that they've lost. I don't see myself getting another vehicle through them. Partially because of the fact that they refused to want to work, and I gave them more than enough options. I gave them plenty. I was like, I even talked to them about this. I was like, here's what I am willing to do. And I'm like, I'm not stupid. I might be 26, but I'm not stupid. I have been through enough to, talked to enough people that have either worked at dealerships or who are currently working at dealerships, and they know the lingo. I'm like, I'm not stupid. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not this average 26-year-old fresh out of college that doesn't know what the flip they're talking about. I actually know what I'm talking about, and they still were not willing to compromise or much less budge. They were wanting me to do things their way, and they weren't willing to do the same for me. So unfortunately, that dealership, again, I'm not going to say their name out of, privacy purposes and whatnot. I don't see myself going to them in the future when it comes to getting another vehicle. Now, mind you, I might not even use them for service of my own vehicle. I might go to another dealership under the same branch, another Kia dealership that will work on my car. And the reason being is because they royally screwed me over a couple of months ago. I was getting my car fixed and or needing a diagnostic to be run on it. And my dealership here in Austin was not going to look at my car for 2 weeks. It was just going to sit there in the lot for like 2 weeks before they even looked at it. And I was like, that's unacceptable. I can't have that. I was like, that doesn't work for me. I can't have that happening. And they didn't have any openings. So I had to call another Kia dealership out of town in San Antonio, and was able to schedule an appointment on my schedule with them. And lo and behold, there was 2 safety recalls on my vehicle, which my dealership up until this point had failed to tell me about, believe it or not. And One of them was for the brake line inspection. And by the way, if anybody in the South that does not get any snow, especially here in Texas, here in the southern part of Texas, and your dealership says you have a brake safety recall, it doesn't really apply because we're in a southern state, so that doesn't really apply, and that's what they told me too. Um, and it's really for northern states that get a lot of snow and have to deal with salt, ice, salting the roads and de-icing the roads and putting de-icing chemicals on the road, and so that's where that really applies. And the other one was for the anti-theft software update. Um, and so I made them probably the biggest decision, worst decision I've ever made. I took my car to them, my dealership in Austin, and they wound up jacking my car up. And when I say they jacked my car up, um, and after that, I've been told that my car was running fine, and then after that, it would not start without a jump box. And luckily, I have one next to my bed, and I always keep it in my car. Um, I always kept it in my car when I was, out on the road, along with my big, medical bag that I have just in case, there's an accident in front of me. Um, and so unfortunately, I don't know if they, and I have made this perfectly clear to the dealership. I have said this straight to their face. I don't know what they did, but they jacked my car up, and I told the guy when I was talking to him the other day, um, that something happened, to where they jacked up the motor so much that it doesn't even. I told him, I was like, look, you either deleted a code or something, but it does not run anymore. Like, well, that's not a problem. I'm like, yeah, technically it is your problem because y'all were the last people to touch my car for the safety recall. For that recall, y'all were the only people that touched it for that recall. And y'all somehow either deleted a code or overloaded it with coding or something. I was like, because now it doesn't even work. Now it doesn't even start properly. Now it doesn't even start, but luckily they told me that it could be, because what happened first was the alternator went out, and then the battery went out as well at the same time, pretty much at the same time. And before y'all start jumping on my ass about this shit, I did replace the alternator, and I did replace the battery. Luckily, the battery was under warranty with my dealership, and I was able to get that, replaced. And now, the warranty from the old battery rolled over to the new battery. So, I don't have to worry about it for now, at least. And so, at first, then I was talking to a couple of friends of mine. They said, "Oh, it could be a voltage issue," and I'm like, "That doesn't sound like it would be the problem." Um, and then a friend of mine was telling me, "Oh, it could be the ECM, which is the electrical control module." Which I'm like, okay, that's a water, and that sits behind the battery, or next to the batteries, generally in the same area as your batteries. A friend of mine was telling me, oh, it could be the ECM that could have gone bad. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense because of where it sits. And that's the electrical component. That's the brain, the nervous system of the vehicle. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense for the ECM to have gone bad, or for the connections to have gone bad, because the way it sits is that the prong, the section is like this, and then the connector goes over and it's a watertight seal. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense to where the ECM could have gone bad. But now they're telling me, oh, it could be the starter, which actually the dealership's telling me, oh, it could be just the starter because if the alternator goes bad. The starter generally has a tendency to either go out at the exact same time or not too long after the alternator goes bad, because my alternator, my old alternator, which is, I haven't thrown it away, I need to get rid of it. It completely went kaputs on my butt. Like, I even took it to AutoZone and they were like, yeah, this thing is dead. Like, there's no coming back from it. They're like, it's dead, dead. It's no life left in it whatsoever. They even tested the battery. The battery was dead, like completely dead. Um, so I had to replace both of them. And at first, I had gotten a battery, an alternator from a scrapyard, and luckily, I was able to get my hands on one. But I was like, I really don't trust this alternator. And so I went to AutoZone and is pissed off another $400, like $500 on a fucking alternator. But at least I know now that it is a new alternator and a new belt, because the belt was about to snap. It was pretty badly damaged on one side, and so I was like, yeah, I might as well, if I'm replacing the battery, I might as well, replacing the alternator, I might as well replace the battery at the same time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the starter, or try to locate the starter first, and then go from there and figure out. And I even pull the starter fuse. So what I'm going to do, probably towards the end of the month, is I'm going to replace the starter and the fuse at the exact same time. Because I'm like, okay, because in my logic, I'm like, okay, here's the thing, is that if you replace the starter, there's a good chance that the fuse is going to go out, because it's trying to deal with a new starter. And so I'm going to replace both of them. And, I've already gotten a quote from the dealership, and it's only like $300 and everything. So, and I can just do that myself. And, and plus, I'm probably going to get that part through the dealership, because that one will be under warranty. Hopefully be under warranty. I'll talk to the dealership in the morning, service in the morning about it. But hopefully that will, solve the issue when it comes to that. But as I said earlier, I will more likely than not, if I do wind up I won't say if I'm going to replace it. I'm going to wind up replacing it regardless. When I replace it, I'll either do a live video on it, or I'll do a simple video offline and then post it up like I've done in previous. If you would like me to do a live video on that, I can. Just leave a comment down below, if you'd rather see it live. So that way, if you have any questions, you can comment and I can answer those immediately. I mean, even if I do post it like I have in the past, on my past videos, and you have questions, leave them down, leave them in the comments. I have friends that, one of my good friends is a diesel mechanic. So he, if he doesn't have the, an answer to it, I can contact another friend of mine. Him and his husband are really good with cars, and I've known them for years. I've known them since 2019. They knew of me in 2019 when I was getting out of the service, but I officially introduced myself to them in 2020. I think 2021. So that's when we officially met. And I mean, I had seen one of them before, but the connection, I just couldn't remember. But if I don't have the answer, I will definitely go ask, and I'll definitely be able to answer your question, or kind of guide you in the direction where you need to go. I will tell y'all this right now: if you go to the dealership, for them to do something on your car, they're going to charge you an astronomical amount for something that could have been done for a quarter of the price. If you can do the work yourself, it will save you a lot of money. Because that's what I've learned on all my previous cars. I've done all the work myself. I mean, there was only one time that I've ever actually taken my car to actually get serviced, and that was because of the AC condensation line had started leaking into the car, and I didn't know if it was because of a break in the line or if it was just a clogged line, and I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to get up in there and try to figure out what the heck was wrong. And so I wound up taking it to San Antonio, and they were like, yeah, by the way, it's just a clog. and they were able to fix it right then and there. But that was the only time that I ever took my car to a dealership to get serviced. I've done, I've done pretty much all the work on my car myself, minus the oil changes. I'm too freaking lazy to do that shit. I am quite literally freaking lazy on when it comes to oil changes. And besides, I got a Jiffy Lube and have them change my oil, and plus I get the receipt from it, and it's a tax write-off. So, I'm pissing off $1,500 a year on getting an oil change. So, tax write-off. But back to what I was saying, I will post that video on my car and the starter and everything at the end of the month, closer to the end of the month of September. I am going to probably try to stick to doing at least one video once a week, or at least every other week, or at least once a month, and then, go from there. But, yeah, I just wanted to give that update, and I hope everybody's has a great, over here, I'm getting hungry. I hope everybody has a great and awesome week. And may it be blessed, stay safe. My company commander used to say, do not add to the population, do not decrease on the population, do not wind up in the hospital, jail, or the hospital. Prison, the hospital are on the news, and if you do land up in prison, establish dominance immediately. And you can thank me later. But yeah, everybody have a great week, and I will talk to y'all later.